A woman miscarries after an arrest. A chicken processing plant released toxic gas. And life sciences company is creating new jobs for Tennesseans. That and more today on APSU TV News. Welcome back to another. Welcome back to another semester at APSU TV News. I'm LaTriah Fletcher with the news for this week. A Memphis, Tennessee woman claims she miscarried her baby after an arrest. It happened in March of 2020 and the incident was caught on camera. Now she is suing the deputies involved. Dominique Dillon reports.
I feel like I was being stripped of my dignity.
Keisha Gray is speaking out after she says Shelby County Sheriff's deputies violated several of her civil rights.
I feel as if there are two justice systems. There are two Americas. And I felt like that I immediately became a part of that other justice system.
On March 29, 2020, Greg says she and her fiance were driving around looking at real estate for sale. Greg says she and her fiance got into a verbal altercation. She asked him to pull over and let her out the car so she could walk and cool off. A witness then called authorities to report her as a victim of domestic assault. The lawsuit says the witness concocted an elaborate story that described an attempted kidnapping that involved extreme physical violence.
The conversation was me telling him that everything was fine. There was a misunderstanding. It was probably somebody who was a concerned citizen and wanted to make sure I was okay. I reassured him that I was okay. At that point, he wanted to take a report, and I said, well, I can't give you a report about something that did not happen.
The lawsuit filed by Donati Law claims the deputies stated anytime they are called out for an investigation, they must file a report. She refused. The deputy allegedly asked for her name, but once again, she refused.
I did not identify myself because I didn't want to make nothing into something. It was not that serious.
Gray believes that is the reason things went left, knowing her rights. The suit claims Gray was tackled in the street, handcuffed, all while saying she was not being detained, ultimately resulting in her miscarrying.
Since then, we've seen the Breonna Taylors, we've seen the George Floyds, we've seen the Ahmaud Arbery. And for some reason, I survived it.
Authorities say 2 Ohio residents were injured when they were run over by a boat in an East Tennessee lake. According to AP Newsroom, the Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency says the accident took place Saturday night on Norris Lake in Campbell County. The agency says Gabriella Wimmer of Marysville, Ohio, and William Tyler Sharp of Hamilton, Ohio, were standing on the bow of a boat when they were thrown from the vessel. The pair was then run over by the same boat. Wimmer was treated at a hospital and released. Sharp was treated for injuries, including cuts from the boat's propeller. He is in critical but stable condition at a hospital. In the race to vaccinate more Americans, the plan for booster shots may be changing. The White House to start the shots on September 20th, but Chief of Staff Ron Klein cannot say if that goal will be met. And Dr. Anthony Fauci says the plan will likely only start with the Pfizer vaccine. CNN's Nick White has more.
Good morning.
Summer is over. This week in the Northeast, many schools start back, but ominous signs from the South. Kentucky schools opened already, and already 1 in 5 districts have closed at some point due to case counts, quarantines, or just lack of staff.
We have a record number of Kentuckians in the hospital battling COVID, in the ICU battling for their lives.
And they're overwhelmingly unvaccinated. South Carolina has among the lowest vaccination rates in the country and the highest infection rate.
We'll have another uptick with the universities opening up. We'll have a further uptick with the schools not having masks on, and we'll have Labor Day travel on top of this. So yes, there will be a further uptick.
Meantime, more data that vaccine booster shots are now necessary due to the Delta variant.
The data from the Israeli studies are that there's a rather substantial diminution in protection against infection and an unquestionable diminution in the protection against hospitalization.
With a booster, that protection bounced back and then some. The plan was to start third shots here in 2 weeks, but might only be Pfizer that rolls out then. Moderna's delayed by a data review. More evidence boosters are needed, a beginning and end of summer comparison. 4 times the number of people in the hospital with COVID-19 now. Average new daily cases up over 800%. Back then, we were losing an average of 594 lives a day. Now, 1,561. The difference? Fewer mitigation measures and Delta.
We need to rev up our game around getting unvaccinated persons vaccinated.
Worldwide, officials now watching the Mu variant, not a threat, not yet, but could partially evade the current vaccines.
The virus will continue to mutate until we have a level of immunity in our communities around this country and around the world.
Release of toxic ammonia gas at a Middle Tennessee chicken processing plant is now being investigated. According to the Tennessean, the fire officials stated that the gas release at a Tyson Foods facility in Goodlettsville early Sunday was found by an overnight worker who alerted others at the industrial complex near the intersection of U.S. Highway 41 and Interstate 65. The leak was stopped by firefighters and plant officials by 8:15 a.m. Roughly 240 residents and 20 workers were temporarily evacuated from the area. We'll be back with Political Corner after the break.
I think I finally found.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, Mason.
Hey, Mason.
Got a new house. It's looking pretty cool so far. A place that I call home.
I'm teaching Louise how to cook some lasagna.
It only takes a spark to make a fire start. The Dutch.
Thank you.
Study, please.
I think I finally found a place to make my own. A place that I call home. This place that I call home.
Every day,
millions of people are connecting.
And even though we're overcoming obstacles,
watching each other's backs,
and banding together,
we should still make an effort.
We should still make an effort
to get to know each other
on a deeper level.
Father,
cosplayer,
mentor,
actor.
It's time we take a step forward.
It's time we take a step forward.
Come together
and discover
how accepting our differences
can make us stronger.
How prepared is your family if disaster shows up at your doorstep? You can't just turn away a natural disaster. That's why it's important to go to ready.gov/plan before they show up. It has the tools and tips you need to make an emergency plan with your family. So if disaster comes knocking,
let's go.
You'll be ready to help keep your family safe.
It's just a pizza.
Yes!
Make a plan today.
Welcome back to APSU TV News. I'm Claire Zelley with Political Corner. CNN's getting a first look at life outside of Kabul under Taliban rule in Afghanistan. Far from the capital, we can actually see how they are governing and putting their Islamic principles first. CNN Nick's Robinson reports.
Inside the new Afghanistan, in rural Paktika province far from Kabul, the Taliban's provincial governor has called a meeting. No women to be seen. Local village elders and tribal chiefs listen. A young boy takes a selfie. Much has changed since the Taliban were last in charge. Smartphones and social media, but poverty still the country's biggest problem.
We have many expectations and we are praying the Taliban will deliver.
The week after Kabul fell, a local journalist took a road trip for us to see what was happening outside the capital. Taliban guides showed him the way. At the border, changes already underway. Part charm offensive, giving traders what they want, longer opening hours at the border, and part crackdown, keeping men and women apart.
Let me tell you, before we had one single line for both men and women. Now we have two. They are kept apart.
Pakistani officials easing into the new relationship, backing the segregation. On this journey, two things become clear: Afghanistan's near financial collapse and the hard switch to religious rule. Spotting a crowd, the team stop. It's a provincial courthouse. Inside, local leaders careful to praise the new boss. We used to have to go a long way to get to a Taliban court, he says. Now we have one right here. The new judge in town, quite literally, laying down the Taliban law, their interpretation of Islamic law.
We asked the previous judges how they used to work. They said they were following the law of the land, not the Sharia. In Islamic Emirate, all court proceedings are according to the Sharia law.
Under Taliban rule in the 1990s, the Taliban's Sharia law led to public amputations for thieves, stoning of adulterers, even hanging. But in the local market, Sharia law is not the big concern. It's making a living.
Business is very bad. We don't know who is in charge. Only low-ranked people are here. We don't know if we can trust them. They are not telling us anything, and the situation has not improved. Prices are going up.
In the barber's shop, business is down. It's not only me, he says, but business is bad in the market. It's not as good as before. They're not alone. The local pharmacist is also struggling. Stocks already depleted under the last government. The clinic's maternity nurse, also worried about finances, says the previous government didn't pay her for the past 4 months and she can't afford to go home. Closer to Kabul, another doctor, more problems. Day and night, he says, we get 25 to 30 patients. And we have just one doctor and one nurse for them all. Outside the hospital, the Taliban claim an alternate reality.
Before you didn't know whether the doctor was coming or not, but now they are there for you all the time.
On this trip, the Taliban's prioritizing of Sharia law and bits of charm offensive seemingly missing Afghans' most important needs: a secure livelihood. Nick Robertson, CNN, Islamabad, Pakistan.
The annual River Fest has been canceled, according to the Parks and Recreation. The event was canceled due to an increase in COVID cases in the Clarksville-Montgomery region. Mayor Joe Pitts met with government and medical officials to discuss the spikes in cases and recognize the importance of community health safety. According to local health department, more than 80% of COVID patients admitted to the hospitals are unvaccinated. With the increase in cases, the mayor acknowledges that Riverfest attracts roughly 30,000 people throughout the weekend. The event's popularity in the community are considered when choosing to cancel so that cases would not rise any farther. Tennessee's Republican majority legislature assembled on Wednesday to examine the development in the Nashville region. Republicans began to implement new legislative and congressional zones during this period. The conference is being held due to the demographic changes that has primarily happened in the Nashville vicinity. Representative Jim Cooper and other lawmakers stood out during the conference, stressing the subject of not dividing the Nashville-Davidson County region. Debates have sparked in the Frankfort, Kentucky, over statewide mask regulations as a result of Republican legislators decided to repeal the mask rule, which is temporarily in effect at all public schools across the state. The bill was first introduced in response to the coronavirus forcing school closures due to the rise in cases. Voting sessions lasted up to 3 days as a result of those meetings. Local government and businesses determined whether or not to implement the mask mandate. That's all for Political Corner this week. We'll be back with weather after this break.
Listen, you're my friend.
I noticed you haven't really been yourself recently.
Yeah, I feel like something's up.
How are you?
Are you okay?
Is there anything you want to talk about?
I just want to know how you're feeling.
And listen, even if you don't know what to say, I'm here to talk.
No matter what you're going through,
I just want you to know I'm here.
I've got your back.
when you want to talk, I'm here.
The black truck? Hey, Christina from accounting.
Yeah, hi.
Hey, I used to date a girl named Christina.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then she dumped me for my best friend. You want to see some photos of them that I took?
I don't.
I thought we talked about this, buddy.
Buzz and overshared again?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna call a car.
That's a smart idea.
So yeah, I know, that's why I did it.
Hey, you're gonna get back to the top of the mountain.
Does that mean I'm gonna get back with Christina?
No.
Oh.
No.
Welcome back to APSU TV News. I'm Emily Waldon with your local and national forecast. Let's first take a look at our current national temperatures. In Seattle is at 62 degrees, Los Angeles at 85 degrees, Denver is at 86 degrees, Dallas is at 87 degrees, Chicago is at 76 degrees, Atlanta is at 78 degrees, and New York is at 75 degrees. Looking at the highs today in Tennessee, Clarksville is at 81 degrees, Nashville is at 82 degrees, Memphis is at 88 degrees, Chattanooga is at 82 degrees, and Knoxville is at 80 degrees. For the lows today in Tennessee, Clarksville is at 57 degrees, Nashville is at 58 degrees, Memphis is at 64 degrees, Chattanooga is at 59 degrees, and Knoxville is at 56 degrees. Currently, it is 77 degrees and it is sunny outside. Winds blowing west at 2 miles per hour. Precipitation is 0%. Tonight, it'll be 57 degrees. It'll be clear skies. Winds blowing south-southeast at 3 miles per hour. Precipitation is 6%. Let's take a look at our 5-day forecast. Sunny throughout the week and hot as well. Friday will be sunny with a high of 81, a low of 57. Saturday will be sunny with a high of 85 and a low of 63. Sunday will be sunny with a high of 89, a low of 63. Monday will be mostly sunny with a high of 89, a low of 64. And Tuesday will be mostly sunny with a high of 87 and a low of 65. This is all for your local and national forecast. APSU TV News will be right back with Political Corner.
Worried your friend's struggling but don't know how to reach out?
You could say, how are you, or get a fake tattoo. You could ask with an app if it works for you. You could write him a text or knit him a sweater. If you can't be together, you could write him a letter. Whatever gets you talking. Whatever gets you talking. You could chat on the game, kick off your flip-flops. You could ask on your couch while you binge watch. However you do it, you gotta ask a friend. And if they don't share, you can ask again. Whatever gets you talking. Whatever gets you talking.
There are a lot of ways to reach out to a friend about their mental health. Learn how you can help at seizetheawkward.org.
You're looking at me in the future. Okay. Hi, Isaac.
Hi. Wait a second.
Do you know who I am?
Julia.
This is Jaina. Into the future. I just wanted to talk to you about what happened with those two girls.
Oh, yeah?
Do you remember it was this girl that I was getting bullied by that one day at Peay when they were like yelling at me, and then you just linked arms with me? I don't think you know how much like that helped me, because like I finally like knew that I had somebody. Because of you, Isaac, and what you did for me years ago, I grew up to be more independent and love myself and just be a little bit more confident. Aw, I'm like a little tearing up right now. Just to see her in the future just blossom and look beautiful, and that was really amazing.
The Austin Peay Governors were back on the gridiron this past Thursday, where they defeated the Chattanooga Mocs by a score of 30-20. The Govs entered halftime with a 3-point lead after a made field goal by Maddox Trujillo. Chattanooga regained the lead in the middle of the third, but Austin Peay took back control after Dre McCray made a 57-yard reception, with the touchdown immediately following after. The Govs defense was able to quarter hold the Mocs for all of 4, while also adding a touchdown to extend their lead. Draylon Ellis also showed off by throwing for 325 yards with 4 touchdowns. One individual on the defensive side was able to grab not 1 but 2 interceptions. This past Monday, Jeff Matthews sat down with John Edwards.
Now joining me, John Edwards, defensive back for Austin Peay, who had a huge night on Thursday, 2 big interceptions. Congratulations on that front. Can you tell me, how does it feel going 1-0 right now, just to start off the season?
It felt great to start fast and get the first game out the way. The first game just over. It also feels good to have a big win against a Tennessee rival that Austin Peay has never beaten, and I didn't know that until pregame. But it just feels good to start off with a win.
Now, speaking on those 2 interceptions, can you give me an idea of what you were feeling on the field, but then also what you were feeling when you got back to the sideline?
On the field, I was kind of like just in the moment and taking it all in, and really just couldn't believe that it came straight to me. And once I got to the sideline, it really just realized, okay, I just had 2 interceptions. That's a big deal.
Now, with Ole Miss right around the corner, what are some things that you are doing personally in preparation for that?
Just putting last game behind me, watching an extra tape, looking at what I can improve on from last game, and just knowing that we have a big time game, and focus and preparation has to be a lot better.
John, can you tell me about your degrees and what they're in?
I have in human and health performance and human movement.
Okay. Now, is there anything that you're looking to do with those outside of football?
Once football is done for me, however long that lasts, I want to teach high school ball and coach. And coach. I've looked at being a physical therapist, but I don't think that's the route I want to go with that.
Alrighty. Well, I thank you so much, John, for joining me here on Inside the Field Room.
Thank you.
The Governors will take on the Ole Miss Rebels in Oxford on Saturday at 6:30. The Austin Peay State volleyball team has started their season off with a 4-2 record, and they have won their last 3 contests. They will travel to Indiana for the Indiana State Invitation this weekend to take on Western Michigan at 9 a.m. on Friday, IUPUI at 1 p.m., and Indiana State on Saturday at 1 p.m. The following weekend, they will participate in the WKU Volleyball Invitational on the 17th and 18th. September 17th, they will play St. John's at 10:30 a.m. and Western Kentucky at 6:30 p.m. And they will take on Ohio at 3:30 as they look to continue the great start to their season. The Austin Peay State University women's soccer team has had a slow start to their season as they head into this week with a 1-4 record. They will try to right the ship as they head on the road for 2 away games. On September 12th at 1 p.m., they will take on the North Alabama Lions. They will then follow that up with a matchup against the Alabama A&M Bulldogs on September 16th at 3 p.m.
That was all for sports. We will be back with more after the break.
Jason, let's go see your room.
What do you think? We kept it a little spare, so you can decorate it how you like.
Dinner!
Go. Excellent. Soccer is fun. Yeah, I saw you guys out there.
During high school, I hung with the wrong crowd and I never graduated.
I helped Santiago in many different ways, like all fathers do, because he always wanted to go to college.
I felt a little embarrassed to come back to school, but eventually, once I came here, I knew that it's for a bigger goal.
He was very dedicated, hardworking. He connected with his teachers, he connected with other students. That was one of the key reasons why he was able to keep forging ahead.
It was amazing to see him graduate. This was one thing that meant so much to him, and of course, it meant so much to us too.
With the help of my father and having my son, that was all the motivation that I needed. That support is everything.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
Nashville International Airport has broken ground on a new 14-story hotel with plans to open in late 2023. The groundbreaking ceremony took place Wednesday, where officials appeared for what would be a Hilton-branded hotel and a parking garage directly adjacent to the terminal. Chartwell Hospitality, LLC, is the hotel operator and developer for the development in a public-private partnership. As stated by the Metro Nashville Airport Authority, Chartwell's cost for the hotel is around $95 million, and the cost for the garage and plaza is around $82 million. The hotel will sit above the 4-level garage. A new facility in Tennessee is expected to create 1,400 jobs by a company that produces supplies for biopharma companies. According to AP Newsroom, the State Department of Economic and Community Development says Thermo Fisher Scientific has committed to invest over $100 million in the new assembly center in Lebanon. Bioprocessed containers and fluid transfer assemblies will be produced for companies that develop therapeutics and vaccines. The Waltham, Massachusetts-based life sciences company has annual revenues exceeding $30 billion. The project expects to create 400 jobs in the near term and 1,400 over a number of years. Paul Overstreet, a country music songwriter, is hosting a concert this week to benefit victims of Tennessee flooding last month in Waverly County. According to AP Newsroom, a news release says other songwriters and artists Joining Overstreet include Jake Owen, Evan Stevens, and others. The event will be held Thursday at Ray Stevens Cabaret in Nashville. The August 21st flooding claimed the lives of 20 people as it took out roads, houses, and telephone lines. Tickets are on sale for a minimum donation of $10. Tickets are available at the door, online, or by phone. A twinkle-toed pickpocket is forced to hang up his dancing shoes after he's caught on camera, then caught by the police. Jeremy Roth has today's take. A look at this.
Watch a smooth criminal put on a bizarre dancing display in order to nab a woman's Rolex watch right off her wrist. The UK's West Midlands police shared video of the incident, which started with the suspect striking up a conversation with a couple, peppering them with high fives as a distraction as he slips the woman's $12,000 Rolex off her wrist. He then breaks into some bizarre, fancy footwork before unsuccessfully attempting an encore on the man. He made off with the timepiece, but police say his dancing days are over. They later caught up with him and shut down his shifty one-man show, taking him into custody. Police in Louisiana say a man's attempt to fake a hit-and-run injury was foiled by none other than a Tesla. The vehicle's backup camera was recording when police say the man pretended to get hit in a gas station parking lot. He filed a hit-and-run injury report, but police caught up with the driver who showed them footage of the incident. Police say the alleged victim later admitted to staging the accident and was arrested himself. Finally, check out this amazing newly released footage of the now extinct Tasmanian tiger. The footage, shared by Australia's National Film and Sound Archive, is nearly a century old, shot in 1933 at a zoo in Hobart, and shows the last known Tasmanian tiger in captivity, named Benjamin. The footage was put through a painstaking colorization process that took some 200 hours and was released in time to mark National Threatened Species Day in Australia. For Take a Look at This, I'm Jeremy Roth.
That's all the time we have for today. Be sure to follow us on Facebook at APSU TV Clarksville and Instagram at APSU_TV. Thank you for watching APSU TV News Update. And always, let's go Peay.